Value-Added 301, Understanding Teacher Value-Added Reports. Please take a moment to read over the learning targets for this session. On behalf of the PPS staff, thank you for engaging in this process. Your questions have been used to directly inform the development and refinement of each successive session. So today, in order to ground your learning, your principal or one of your RISE leadership team members will distribute a short value-added quiz. Your principal will pause this recording to allow approximately 10 to 15 minutes for you to complete the quiz with a partner. You should discuss the rationale for your answers with your partner. Use the information that follows to refine your understanding of value added in Pittsburgh Public Schools. Question 1. Value-added measures, known as VAMs, measure student growth over time. Pause the recording for a few moments to allow the participants to share their thoughts. The correct answer is false because value-added measures are not simple growth measures. Value-added measures are measures of adults' contributions to student growth. Question 2, true or false? Confidence intervals help to isolate the contributions of schools, teams, and teachers to students' growth. Pause the recording for a few moments to allow participants to share their thoughts. The answer is false because control variables help to isolate the contributions of schools, teams, and teachers to students' growth. Question 3. Test-based value-added estimates compare PPS schools to other schools, A, within the district, B, within the state, or C, across the country. Pause the recording for a few moments to allow participants to share their thoughts. The correct answer is B, because on test-based measures, schools are compared to other schools in the state. On non-test-based measures, schools are compared to other schools within the district, and schools' contributions to student subgroups is in comparison to that school's contribution to all other students within the school. Question 4. In order to close the gap between underperforming subgroups in the district and all other students, schools should strive to make contributions to the growth of those subgroups that are equivalent to all other students. Pause now for a few moments to allow participants to share their thoughts. The correct answer is false, because if schools contribute equally to the growth of underperforming subgroups and all students, the gap between the subgroup and all other students will remain exactly the same. In order to eliminate any existing gaps, schools should strive to contribute significantly more to the growth of the underperforming group as compared to all other students. Question 5. A school that is in the 25th percentile in terms of their contribution to their students' growth in mathematics is performing as well as or better than A, 75% of the schools in the state, B, 25% of schools in the state, or C, 25% of schools in the district. Pause again for a few moments to allow participants to share their thoughts. The correct answer is B, because on test-based measures, schools are compared to other schools in the state. A school that is in the 25th percentile in mathematics is performing as well as or better than 25% of schools in the state. A school would have to be in the 75th percentile to perform as well as or better than 75% of schools within the state. Question 6. As long as a school is in a percentile above 50, their contribution to students' growth are significantly higher than predicted. Pause again to allow participants to discuss. The correct answer is false, because a school can be in a percentile above 50, but if the confidence interval crosses over the 50th percentile, the school's contributions will be as predicted as opposed to significantly higher than predicted. Question 7. PVAS results and PPS-VAM results should be similar since both are value-added measures. Pause again to allow participants to think and discuss. The correct answer is false, because although both PVAS and PPS-VAM are school-level value-added measures, they use different assessments, different inclusion rules for students, different baseline years, different control variables. PVAS only uses prior achievement, and different time periods. PPS-VAM is a 2-year average. Question 8. School VAM reports reflect A, a 3-year average, B, 1 year only, or C, a 2-year average. Pause the recording for a few moments to allow participants to share their thoughts. The correct answer is C, because PPS school VAM reports reflect a 2-year average. There is year-to-year trend information in the report, but that is not the only information in the report. Teacher VAM reports will reflect a 3-year average whenever possible. Question 9. PPS school-level value-added measures currently utilize the following assessments. A, PSSAs only, B, PSSAs and CBAs, or C, PSSAs, CBAs, and PSATs. Pause the recording to allow your staff to discuss the answer. The correct answer is C, because PPS school VAMs utilize PSSAs, CBAs, and PSATs. Note that PSATs are applicable to school VAMs only and not applicable to teacher VAMs. And question 10. When applying school VAM results to school improvement planning, planned responses should focus on teachers of mathematics, English language arts, and science, since these are the tested content areas. Please take another moment to pause this recording and discuss this question. The correct answer is false, because although the test-based VAM estimates are in mathematics, English language arts, and science, those results are reflective of the entire school. All adults in a school contribute to students' growth, not just those teaching in the tested areas. Now that we've reviewed our understanding of value added, let's look at the anatomy of a teacher value added report. You will notice that the teacher reports have a similar look and feel to the school reports. The school report is a comparison to the state. However, the teacher reports are a comparison to our district. School reports only use 2 years of data, and teacher reports use 3 years of data. School reports use PSSA, CBAs, and PSAT, and teacher reports use only PSSA and CBAs. This is a sample of a teacher report for Teacher C. Notice that the information on this report represents a 3-year average. A 3-year average is used to tighten up the accuracy of the information. Teacher C is receiving value-added information for the following subjects: PSSA Reading 7, CBA English 7, and an overall test-based average percentile. The performance relative to PPS average column indicates if the teacher's contribution is below, equal to, or above the average teacher contribution in the district. In this case, Teacher C's contribution to the learning of his or her students in PSSA Reading, CBA English, and overall is equal to or not significantly different than the average teacher contribution in the district. Remember, this performance indicator is relative to the average teacher's contribution in the district. A positive sign would indicate that the teacher's performance exceeded the performance of the average teacher in the district by a statistically significant margin. On the contrary, a negative sign would indicate that the teacher's performance is below the performance of the average teacher in the district by a significant margin. The 53 in the red circle indicates that the value-added percentile, or the contribution of this teacher to student growth in grade 7 PSSA Reading, falls in the 53rd percentile. We are now looking at the confidence interval. You may remember that the confidence interval is a range of possible true values. In this case, a 95% confidence interval has been constructed around the 53rd percentile to provide a range of possible percentiles for this teacher's true performance. The teacher's true contribution falls between the 37th percentile and the 63rd percentile. It's always good to practice new learning. Your principal will provide you with an exploration guide to practice your interpretation skills. He or she will first take you through one of the 3 examples. The guides contain 3 examples representing different grade bands. The guide also includes an answer key located in the back of the exploration guide. Once you and your principal work through an example together, you will want to collaboratively work on the example that best represents your grade band. Pause the recording now to allow time to work through the process and discuss the answers. In this last section, we will examine 2 PPS value-added myths. The first myth is that individual teacher VAMs will have the same results as the teacher's overall school results. In other words, if the overall value-added measure for the school is above average, then all the individual teacher VAMs will also be above average. Let's explore why this is a myth. In table groups, use the handout for myth number 1 to answer the questions on this slide. Pause the recording to allow participants about 10 minutes to complete. Now that you have had some time to discuss, let's take a look as to why this is a myth. There is more difference within schools than between schools. It is important to nurture talented people to stay in high-need schools and to support those teachers that need assistance so that they can become more effective. In the left diagram, the arrow points to a teacher's contribution that is below the predicted performance of the average teacher in the district. although the teacher instructs at an above average school. In the diagram at the right, the arrows point to teachers with contributions that are above the predicted performance of the average teacher in the district, although the teacher instructs at an average school. Myth number 2. Teacher VAM reports will reveal what teachers are doing to contribute to student growth. To further process this myth, it is important to understand the difference between value-added and RISE. Use the RISE rubric handout to help discuss the two questions on this slide. Pause the recording to allow participants about 10 minutes to discuss the two prompts. To be sure that your understanding is clear, it's important to know that value added alone does not provide all the answers, but it does help generate many questions to get at what leads to effective teaching. Value added together with the 4 domains and 12 power components of the RISE rubric, teachers will be able to reflect on the effectiveness of their practice. For example, according to the RISE rubric, what practices are indicated as your strengths? What about your areas of challenge? Using value added as a temperature gauge, where might you focus your attention to increase or leverage your effectiveness and contribution to student growth? Thank you for your participation. This concludes the Value Added 301 webinar. Please remember that all inquiries should be directed to the PPS Help Desk, principals, RISE leadership, and teachers. Thank you.